if you're New England guys, what's the plan for Jackson Smith and Jigba on Sunday?
Usually with that kind of guy, you got to get somebody in his face and jam him at the line of scrimmage.
Yep,
Be physical, get him uncomfortable, take your strongest, biggest DB and smack him around. If he's coming out of the slot, the end walks out and bumps him, or a linebacker, you got to disrupt the route because the guy's just too talented. When he's free running, he's too talented, and he's going to, like you said, it's not a specific route. It's just the pure talent of the receiver. So you got to disrupt the timing by jamming the receiver and get him uncomfortable.
I mean, he hit the nail on the head. It's all about rhythm. You got to take him out of rhythm. Even if you, on the line of scrimmage, if you have a guy who tries to bump him and they miss him, if you throw him off rhythm a little bit because they got a guy over top, that's going to help out. But if you allow this guy to get in rhythm, he's probably the best option route runner in the league. He gets up to 5 or 6 yards and he has option routes. You're not going to be able to stop him.
Super Bowl 60, Seahawks, Patriots, the new era in New England, the complete turnaround in Seattle, and here we go. Welcome to Flutie versus Stegall, your head-to-head weekly NFL picks and analysis show. I'm your host, Arash Madani. There is Milt Stegall. Here comes Doug Flutie. And on Sunday, fellas, finally, it is here. It has arrived. Go time in Super Bowl 60.
And it's a special moment. It's a special event. You think about what these guys have gone through all year long, the sacrifices, the injuries, the mental and physical anguish they've gone through, and now you're at the biggest moment of your professional career. So you want to try to take full advantage of it because you don't know if this opportunity is going to present itself again. At the end of the day, all the fans, all the pundits, we all just want a high-scoring, entertaining game, and we know who's going to win the game, but we'll talk about that soon.
And something Milt just touched on was you never know when you're going to get back. The young kids that are playing in the game think, oh, this happens every year. They're like, oh, okay, it's my second year in the league, and I'm at the Super Bowl. This is going to happen 4 or 5 times. The guys that are more veteran realize it's special, that you rarely get this opportunity, and you got to make the most of it. A guy like Sam Darnold, who's in this position, how much it's going to mean to him. The war of attrition that you've gone through all year long to stay healthy and fight and get to this point. So it's special. It's a fun week. It's an amazing experience. Keep your head cool and go play football.
Yeah, Darnold's been through the whole hoopla before. A couple of years ago as the backup to Brock Purdy in San Francisco. But not many guys on either team, fellas, have. Only 5 Patriots players have been through the Super Bowl week before. On Seattle's roster, just 4 guys. So let's start there. You've both played in championship games. Take us into the locker room in the moments before you come out for intros and kickoff. Like, you expect the nerves and anxiety, but what else is happening there behind the curtain that nobody else would see inside a locker room?
You know, as a quarterback, as an offensive guy, I'm just making sure everybody knows the new stuff we put in this week, the checks, the things like that. That's the talk, but the nerves are definitely there. You know, the anxiety of the situation, the buildup of the week, all that. The big difference for me from the first time I played in a Grey Cup to the 4th time, I mean, I was so relaxed and confident. And the only thing that makes you confident, the only thing that calms nerves is your preparation and knowing how prepared you are. That calms the nerves, slows the game down for you a little bit. There's still going to be all the excitement of a championship game. That's still going to be at a different level. But that's why I've always said it, that your preparation is what calms those nerves and makes you comfortable and confident going into the game.
As far as how guys are reacting, I mean, you have a little bit of everything. And Doug understands this. You have guys who are bouncing around, who are listening to music. You have guys who are regurgitating in the toilet sometimes. You have guys who are doing a little bit of everything. And that's okay. But as long as you're doing what you've been doing all year long, don't try to change it up because it's the championship game. As I've mentioned in our past podcasts, yes, it's not like any other game, but you don't want to change up what you've been doing all year long because that's what got you to this point. So if you're a guy who's listening to music and you're bouncing around, don't try to be in there doing yoga now. Do what got you there. And as long as you're doing that, I'm fine. I think when I look back to the championships I've played in and at all levels, and I've never won a championship, I've always seen guys who doing different things. And maybe that's why I didn't win. Guys are trying to change up what they've done this entire year. Do what got you there, and you go out there and see what happens.
A phrase that I was always told was your best is good enough. You don't have to be the superstar that particular day. You just do what you've been doing. You know, and along the lines of what Milt was talking about, Jim Kelly was throwing up before every game. He was always had those nerves, got it out. I think, didn't Josh Allen say he did that?
Yeah,
I thought it was either Josh or even Drake Maye, but I thought it was Josh. You know, it's just certain guy. The nerves are there. No matter how veteran a player you are, the nerves are there. And until you get out there and start playing and get hit, that's the only time it can go away.
Well, if you're new to the show, welcome and happy Super Bowl week. This is Flutie versus Stegall. We have become one of North America's fastest growing football podcasts, and this is our first year of doing it. The guys, Doug, Milt, they make their picks. We talk storylines, and they share their locker room stories. And Doug, you talked about Drake Maye. Like, of course, he's new to all of this. A couple of years ago, when Darnold was the backup in San Francisco, Drake Maye was sitting on the couch on campus at North Carolina. We all know the MVP caliber season that Drake Maye has had. Completion percentage, yards per attempt, we're tops in the NFL. But guys, it's been a different story in the playoffs.
Yep.
So I was looking it up. In the 3 postseason games, Drake has not converted one throw inside tight windows. And downfield passes in these playoffs in January, he's 9 of 26. So, Doug, if you're Mike McDonald and the Seahawks, what does Seattle's defense have drawn up for a quarterback who's just kind of teetering a little bit now that he's on the bigger stage?
On the bigger stage, what has happened, he's played better defenses, number one.
Yep.
And number two, he's been a little more cautious with the ball, trying to be careful not to turn it over. And what happens is you stop making big plays and you end up turning it over. You've got to be confident in what you're seeing and what's in front of you and turn it loose in order to make big plays. Mm-hmm. So defensively, you want to get some pressure on them. You want to mix up your looks. Obviously, everything's mixed up, but Seattle's got a great defense. They pressure quarterbacks. They've got a great pressure package. Do it early, get them uncomfortable. Drake Maye's one outlet is to use his legs, and that's made the difference in the snow game. Was the handful of first downs he took off and ran for. That's there for him. But to win this game with Seattle's offense, the ability to score points, he's going to have to play like he played during the regular season. He's going to have to turn it loose, be confident in what he sees, and make the plays down the field. That's got to happen for him in order to compete in this game.
If I can make just one point about Drake Maye, if I'm Mike McDonald, I'm going to make him win with patience and not creativity. I'm going to make him be indecisive, because if he's decisive, he's going to kill you. I'm going to make him win with patience, make him say, okay, what do I need to do? But if you allow him to be creative, allow him to use his legs like he did that last game, they got a pretty good chance of winning or being successful.
When you go 4-man rush and play standard coverages, it's like reading it like the back of his hand, bang, 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 the decision-making is easy. When it gets a little convoluted, when you're zone blitzing, somebody's dropping out, now it takes that extra second to decipher what the heck's going on. You hold the ball, and that's when pressure can get in your face.
And the Seahawks bring pressure. They had 5 players this season who had 12 or more hits on the quarterback this year. No team had more.
You're allowed to hit the quarterback?
You just can't land on the quarterback, Flutie. You can't hit.
You have to hit him between the neck and the knee or the thigh. Let's bring it up to thigh high. So targets, yes, I guess you're allowed to hit him.
You're allowed to hit him. And the Rams did the same to Sam Darnold. I mean, let's go to the other side. My guy, Sam, just got the Vikings GM fired last week, by the way.
Yep.
Ownership was like, wait, we let that guy out of the building for J.J. McCarthy? I was trying to think of the way to kind of present this to both of you, because it seems like for years, all we've heard about with Sam Darnold is everything he can't do.
Right.
And now, piece by piece this season and through the playoffs, he's shown us all that he's capable of. The Rams bringing pressure, it didn't rattle them. So Milt, knowing that, what does Mike Vrabel, what does New England want to do against Darnold to get him off balance?
You want to speed up his clock without blitzing, if that makes sense. You want to speed up his clock without blitzing. You want to make sure your defenders, if it's linebackers, if it's defensive linemen, they get their hands up. You want to move around your safeties, because Sam struggles not when he feels pressure, but when he feels ghosts. When he feels that someone's about to hit him and there's nothing there. When he feels he sees a receiver's open when he's not open. That's how you get to Sam Darnold. You make him see them ghosts. You make him realize that we're going to take you back to last year. Remember when you threw those interceptions in that last season of the game or in the playoffs? That's where they want to get him back to. If you allow him to get rolling, you allow him to keep that confidence rolling like it is right now, you're not going to have a chance in this game. But you allow him to see some ghosts. You send some zone blitzes where you think he's about to get hit when there's no one there and he's rushing to throwing the ball. That's how you get to Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I think New England has definitely pressured more, blitz pressures, bringing it. And in the playoffs, they've gone up to like 40%, something like that they're just bringing something. I think the key for them is stopping the run game first and forcing them to throw. And like Milt said, more fake the pressure on one side, bring it from the other, but you're dropping out. So it's really only a 4-man rush. Is he getting overloaded? Make him unsure if he's getting overloaded once and he's pulling the trigger. Is the guy coming free? All that. Because we're all looking, anyone that's watched Sam Darnold play, even since college, he had the propensity to throw the bad interception, try to make a play out of nothing, and turn the ball over a handful of times. As we've said, the last 2 years, that really hasn't happened. It happened last year in the playoffs, but it really hasn't happened. He's been under control the entire time. You got to make him uncomfortable and see if one turnover leads to another, and you can get it snowballing on him. But pressure is the key. Somehow get at him. You can't pressure and leave these wide receivers in man-to-man coverage.
No, you can't do
these
that.
guys are dynamic, and that's Milt's wheelhouse, talking about those receivers.
And nobody more. Look, yes, Cooper Kupp's kind of coming on. And yes, Rashid Shaheed was brought in the trade deadline as kind of a versatile weapon. But look, way back in October on this show, we were calling Jackson Smith and Jigba the best receiver in football. And now here we are in February, and JSN is it. So, Doug, when you talk about, the receivers, that's the weapon. I find this wild. JSN led the NFL in receiving yards, just shy of 1,800. But of the 12
CFL numbers, Milt, 1,800
really
yards.
I know.
Go ahead, keep going.
And of the 12 routes that get measured, whether it's slants or hitches or screens, goes, whatever, you name it, he didn't lead the league in any of those categories. So you talk about impressive, you talk about versatile, you talk about a diverse route tree for JSN. Knowing he doesn't have a go-to, knowing that New England wants to bring pressure on Darnold, if you're New England guys, what's the plan for Jackson Smith and Jigba on Sunday?
Usually with that kind of guy, you got to get somebody in his face and jam him at the line of scrimmage.
Yep,
Be physical, get him uncomfortable,
Yep.
take your strongest, biggest DB and smack him around. If he's coming out of the slot, the end walks out and bumps him, or a linebacker, you got to disrupt the route, because the guy's just too talented. When he's free running, he's too talented. And he's going to, like you said, it's not a specific route. It's just the pure talent of the receiver. So you got to disrupt the timing by jamming the receiver and get him uncomfortable.
I mean, he hit the nail on the head. It's all about rhythm. And JSN is a rhythm receiver. When he gets in the rhythm, there's nothing you can do. But as Doug mentioned, you got to take him out of rhythm. Even if you, on the line of scrimmage, if you have a guy who tries to bump him and they miss him, if you throw him off rhythm a little bit because they got a guy over top, that's going to help out. But if you allow this guy to get in rhythm, he's probably the best option route runner in the league. He gets up to 5 or 6 yards and he has option routes. You're not going to be able to stop him. So you got to put a linebacker inside of him, that nickel back, that safety, maybe not so deep, 10 to 12 yards where he's being restricted. You have to do that, and you have to do it early. You can't wait till later on in the game when he gets in the rhythm. You got to try to throw him off rhythm early in the game. Otherwise, if he gets going, you're not going to be able to stop him. You're not going to totally erase him, but you can somewhat slow him down.
Yeah, we saw last week the touchdown that he was wide open on, and we diagrammed last week where he came from depth, from the backfield. And that's, it's hard to jam. If you're moving and what you do offensively to keep people from jamming, even if you're on the line of scrimmage-ish, lined up in a wide spot, motion, little short motions, back a DB off. Coming from the backfield, there's no one right on them right away to jam them. So offensively, you start thinking, where are we going to put them? We got to move them around a little bit, use motion, use stacks, things to keep them from being able to jam.
How innovative is Clint Kubiak and that Seattle offense going to be? Like, how much new stuff may we see? How kind of deep into the weeds may they go or may they not go in this one, guys?
I get frustrated with that. This is what happens on championship games. You got 2 weeks to get ready for a Super Bowl. Offensive coordinators have time on their hands, and they've got the extra practice time too. They start tinkering and wheeling and dealing. It's like, I was always a guy that loved to hang my hat on these plays. Now we'll do a wrinkle off. We got to make them, these are the plays we run all the time. So they're going to be jumping something. So we do have a wrinkle or two off of that. But I like going with the stuff I've run since training camp. I know like the back of my hand. You put in a few trick plays. That's why, the Patriots always had trick plays back with Brady. Edelman throwing a double pass, you name. So there's going to be a couple of trick plays thrown in the mix as well.
Well, remember, Doug, go back 10 or so years. Guess who caught a touchdown pass for New England in the Super Bowl?
Oh, Vrabel, of course.
Mike Vrabel.
Yep.
Milt, what's like as a receiver, what, you talk about in the locker room before a game, just do the same things. What do you want to see from an offensive game plan when it comes to tinkering and tweaking and adding and the rest?
Well, you don't want to see too much. There's a reason why you're at this point, because you've had success with what you've been doing all year long. But you definitely want to add a couple of wrinkles. And there's only so many routes you can run. There's only so many patterns, whatever they may be, you can run. But you want to add a couple of wrinkles in there because the defense, they've been studying you. They've had 2 weeks to look at what you've been doing. So you want to change things up, and that can come with motioning. That can come with different sets or whatever it may be. As Doug mentioned, they motion JSN out of the backfield doing those things, lining different receivers up in different positions. But as far as the route you're going to run, you're not reinventing the wheel. You have only so many routes you can run. There's just different ways you can run them. But you want to continue doing what you've been doing all year long. Even if the opposing team knows what you're going to be doing, if you go out there and you're better than the guy in front of you, you're going to have success. Just keep doing what you've been doing.
That goes along the lines of what I see. As a quarterback, the route combination, but you can change up personnel. You can change up the look because of motion. You can run it to the weak side of the field, but the scheme should stay the same because it's the read, the progression, and where am I going when it's blitz? Where am I going man? Where am I going in zone blitz? Blah, blah, blah. So you can still disguise the looks, as Milt was saying there. You disguise the looks by formation and personnel groupings.
Well, guys, Super Bowl 60 on the horizon, Sunday in the Bay Area. We know it's going to be crazy around San Francisco. We also know it's the busiest weekend of the year in Las Vegas. And we have ourselves a heck of a contest to join these two guys this spring in Vegas. We have a Bodog Super Bowl party prop contest. Go to bodog.eu. Fill in your parlay picks on the prop sheet. You can make your picks to win a dream golf trip to Las Vegas to play a round of golf with Doug Flutie and Milt Stegall
on the best mini golf course ever, with the windmill and the clown's mouth and the triple hole. Yeah.
Milt, I can't wait to see you on the golf course, my man.
I can't wait to see me either. So
we're gonna have one hole. We're gonna have a one-hole competition.
I can't wait to see me either, baby.
We are gonna have a stopwatch from tee to hole, and Milt will win.
We're playing best ball.
It doesn't matter how many times you hit it. You can't pick it up and put it in your pocket. You got to hit it.
Hey, as long as I'm able to run with some balls, and I can probably run with the ball and position it better than I can actually hit the ball. So
all the details, it's a VIP experience. If you're a football fan, this is something that is just going to be unforgettable. The details are on Bodog socials, or enter now at bodog.eu. All right, let's get back to the game, guys. Look, at the heart of Seattle's offense is their play caller, Clint Kubiak. And all the reports have Doug's buddy Tom Brady hiring Kubiak to go to the Raiders to be the head coach. They're going to bring in Fernando Mendoza, start the whole thing over again in Vegas. Not the first time this has happened in Super Bowl week. Kyle Shanahan was the OC in Atlanta the year of the 28-3 game. Everybody knew he was going to San Francisco. Same with Kevin O'Connell leaving the Rams for Minnesota 4 years ago. Look, we create narratives sometimes, but I just wonder, as guys who've been there, players in the locker room, is that a distraction at all for Seattle's offense, knowing their coordinator is leaving?
I think so. I think it's a subtle one, but it's forgotten once the Super Bowl week gets rolled. Like, it's already forgotten.
Yep.
They're preparing. They're going to travel. It's Super Bowl week. That's back on the back. For a day, it was a distraction. The day it comes out, it's a little bit of a. In fact, I remember walking in on my offense coordinator, John Huffnagel. We were in Calgary, and it was pregame. It was the morning of a game, the afternoon game, whatever. And he's watching film for next week because they get a head start and take notes for the next week's game. They got that time in the morning, the preparations. That bothered me. It's like, no, don't even talk about next week. Let's talk about this. So when you talk about a coach even talking to other teams and moving on, it would bother me a little bit for a day or two. And then all of a sudden you're back on the practice field and it's forgotten about.
Yeah, as Doug mentioned, guys are somewhat concerned, but once it's time to focus on what's it's time to focus on, that's what they focus on. This will be a problem if Seattle offense struggles. Then it'll be a problem. Then they'll talk about it like, was that a distraction, knowing that, next week you'll be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. As long as they go out there and play well, it won't be a problem. But if they struggle, if Sam Darnold struggles, if that offense can't produce points and they lose this game, then it's going to be part of the narrative. So let's hope they can go out there and do what they've been doing all year long. They play a great game, and he won't have to answer those questions.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't get closure either. Somebody asked Matt Ryan a few years ago, did you and Kyle ever talk about what went wrong that 28-3 game? And Matt Ryan said, I never saw Shanahan again. The game ends.
He was gone right afterwards. He was gone.
Isn't that amazing?
He was gone.
Next day,
so much
they're at Niners headquarters.
Yep. You go through so much together. You spend so many hours together every day of the year. You're joined at the hip. It's a bond. It's a family. And then you play the biggest game of your life, and you don't see the guy again. It's just off to the next.
Because it's a business, Doug. It's all about business, baby. It's all about the business.
Well, the business got good for Malcolm Butler 11 years ago, the last time these two teams were in a Super Bowl. Iconic game. You remember how it ended. New England's coach looks over at the Seattle sideline, doesn't call the timeout. Seattle seems scattered. Then Russell Wilson threw it, and Butler picked it off. You have the iconic sports moment. But here's what I wonder 11 years later. What are those two guys on the sidelines who are so kind of connected as identifiable to these franchises? Like, what are Belichick and Pete Carroll thinking about all this, especially for Bill? Because, Doug, the departure from Foxborough was not pretty. And now his old linebackers coaching them into a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What must Bill and Pete be thinking right about now?
I do think from one respect, Bill's proud of Vrabel. I mean, like Mike, back when we were playing, you knew this guy's going to be a coach. This is his demeanor, his MO. So they're happy for Mike in that respect. But I guarantee you, Bill does not want to see them win a Super Bowl.
Nope.
It's like, great job, Mike. I love it. It's a great run. Way to go. Don't win a Super Bowl and just water down everything. It's like Aaron Rodgers completing Hail Marys every other week. Mine was no more a big deal, right? They made such a big deal about mine for you, and Rodgers was doing every week. If they go out and win a Super Bowl, it really doesn't diminish what Belichick did, but in his mind, it's like, damn it.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, Belichick, he does not want to see New England. Think about it. The way his year started off, if New England wins and he wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer, that'll be a rough start to the year. So neither one of these guys want to see their former team win, in my opinion.
I agree.
I mean, they coached them for years. They led them to Super Bowls. They're not far removed from coaching these teams a couple of years, and they were the head coaches, and now these teams are back in the Super Bowl. Is basically justifying that we did a great job getting rid of you guys. So both of these guys are cheering for the opposing team, and they won't come out and say it personally, but I guarantee you they are.
And Bill has to see Tom Brady leave New England, go to Tampa, and win one. Right? So that kind of is the same point. It's like, damn it, they didn't need me. Damn it, they didn't need me. Now they don't need me. That hurts. It just hurt. The ego gets shot a little. The fact that he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer is ridiculous, by the way. Just throwing that out there. That's crazy.
Yep.
He's got 8 rings. He doesn't have any more fingers to put rings on.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, the first guy to come to Belichick's defense there was Tom. Like, it may have been a bad divorce when they first parted ways, but Brady goes on Seattle radio and absolutely defends his coach for a spot into Canton. Okay, so we call this Flutie versus Stegall because every week the guys make picks for who's going to win and cover the spread. Doug won the head-to-head in the regular season. Milt rode the Seahawks all the way. That got him the playoff title. So we have one pick to go for the overall championship, and it all comes down to this Super Bowl. The guys are on opposite sides of this. So let's put 30 seconds up on the clock. And Milt Stegall, in 30 seconds, in a half minute, let's hear your argument for why the Seahawks are about to become Super Bowl champions. Go.
Seattle wins the Super Bowl because their scheme controls the outcome. Defensively, Mike McDonald, he's a wizard at disguising things, interchangeable fronts. The two-shell defense, the safeties, they control the run game. They don't give up any big plays, and they force the quarterback to hold the ball, to hesitate. And when they make those bad decisions, they get the turnovers. Offensively, they're balanced, and they know how to adapt. Their running game is respectable. And, of course, that running game allows those play-action passes, the JSN and the Cooper Kupp. And then they adapt. So if you take something away from them, they adapt and do something even better. Basically, the Seahawks, they control everything. They control the pace. They control the matchups. They control the decision-making on both sides of the ball. You have some teams who control play calling. The Seahawks control the way the game is played. And because of that, they're going to win the Super Bowl, baby. That's a little Seahawk right there.
Woo. Okay. I like it.
You remember the old Saturday Night Live, Jane, you ignorant?
Well,
counterpoint.
Doug Flutie.
Patriots.
Hold on.
Go
Doug
get it.
Flutie. I got to set you up for this, Doug. This is what I'm here for. Because you got the helmet there. Doug Flutie is New England through and through.
Was that your helmet when you played?
This
Doug?
was mine. Yes, my rookie year. This is the helmet I was wearing.
around.
I did have a chin strap.
Because twice you were a Patriot, Doug.
Yeah.
Right? And then Boston College. Let's get 30 seconds up on the board. Doug Flutie, how will a 7th Lombardi trophy come back to Foxborough?
Make Seattle look ugly if you can, right? Seattle's been polished, right? So you pressure, you stop the run first, you do rundown pressures to try to disrupt the running game, force a one-dimensional game, and throwing the football. Explosive receivers, so that means limit your man-to-man coverage. When you pressure, it's zone pressures, and get after him. Try to make Sam Darnold uncomfortable, hoping for the turnover or two. Offensively, Drake Maye's got to go back to being aggressive with the ball. It's not one of those games where you sit there, protect the football the whole game, and try to win it at the end. You've got to score with Seattle. So that's the MO. Now, the bottom line comes down to everybody talks about turnovers, but turnovers happen because your defense is pressuring the quarterback and hitting him in the mouth, and he's got to get desperate. So I think Drake Maye looks like the Drake Maye we've seen all year long.
Man, thank you so much for that.
And and score more points than the other team.
Score more points than that usually does it. I think we're in for an intriguing ball game. Two defensive coaches going head to head in a Super Bowl. We rarely see that at a time now. We have spread offenses and play.
Put Mike Vrabel in goal line offense at tight end.
There you go.
Throw him the ball, huh?
So final score, Milt Stegall. Final score, Doug Flutie. What do we got?
Final score, Seattle Seahawks 29, New England Patriots 24.
Ooh.
I was thinking 24 for the Patriots. As soon as you said that, 24-21 New England.
Oh, right.
Right.
Seattle goes for it instead of kicking field goals and gets stopped twice.
Fourth down conversion.
No more
baby.
field goals. There's no more field goals in the NFL allowed.
That's it. They're not even doing extra points anymore.
No, we're going for two.
The punters are going to end up doing
Oh
the
my God,
kickoff
the
for
determining
removing
factor
field goal kickers from the
they're
roster.
going for two, and it's intercepted return for 2 points the other way. And it beats the spread.
If I had to pick an X factor in this game, for me, on Seattle is Rashid Shaheed. Yes. I think he'll have an opportunity. He'll touch the ball between maybe 6 and 12 times. And for New England, it's Christian Gonzalez. He needs to have a big game. Trying to stop Cooper Kupp and JSN. He's capable of doing it. I don't know if they're going to have him follow around JSN, but those are my two X factors in this game.
Well, for the Patriots, I'd say the X factor is Ramondre Stevenson. He is instrumental in their pass protection and picking up the blitzes and all that. He's really a big factor there, but they need to run the ball. They need to run the ball well, and it's hard to run the ball against Seattle. And Stevenson will have some big plays in the run game.
Just remember, all the attention's on JSN. Kenneth Walker's going to carry the mail for Seattle. Don't forget about Cooper Kupp. Has been a Super Bowl MVP before.
Super Bowl MVP, yes.
He was a cap casualty with the Rams. They sent him off to the dumpster. Don't forget about Cooper Kupp in this football game.
It's not officially the dumpster until he goes to the Jets.
or Cleveland.
Or Cleveland. Fellas, happy Super Bowl. It's been an awesome season. Can't wait to wrap it all up with you guys next week. Super Bowl 60, New England versus Seattle. It's going to be a great one. For Milt Stegall and Doug Flutie, Arash Madani saying so long. We will see you next week on Flutie versus Seattle.